Hello and welcome to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. Today, our special guest is Jacob Yang, and Jacob is the new editor of the very famous Solar Today magazine. Hey, Jacob, what's happening?
Hey, Sean, not much. Thanks for having me on your podcast. Excited to be here.
Yeah, and congratulations on being editor of Solar Today magazine. And for people that don't know, that is the American Solar Energy Society magazine. It's super cool. And I wrote an article in there for my first time. I was recently looking for it in 2017, and it was on SBSP, which stands for Space-Based Solar Power. And I interviewed somebody from SolarSEAN, which is a company that was doing SBSP, space-based solar power, and they actually had a contract in 2016 with Pacific Gas and Electric to do space-based solar power, but it didn't happen,
Oh, got it. Okay.
obviously. And it
Yeah.
was because the aliens intercepted the satellite. Do you think I'm full of it?
I mean, I've seen aliens. I'm not
Yeah.
doubting you at all. Yeah.
Yeah. You got
They're
to look at,
real.
anything that's on the History Channel is definitely true
Yes, absolutely.
because it's like history, right?
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah, building pyramids and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, a lot of work.
But enough goofing off, messing around, and making up crazy stuff. Let's get back to what you're doing. Well, maybe I'll mess around a little bit more. So that's really awesome that you are the new editor of Solar Today. Why are you such a great editor, so much better than Carly Rixam, who was the previous editor?
I appreciate the question, Sean.
I'm just kidding, G. Carly's my good
Yeah.
friend. I'm teasing both of you.
Yeah. No worries. I'm sure she did a phenomenal job. And one thing I'm excited about to be the new editor-in-chief is to bring a new perspective to the magazine. Just having a deep network, particularly with clean energy, marketing and communications professionals, understanding some of the nuances they use in messaging and tying that in as we continue to evolve the magazine. I think the magazine itself is continuing to provide education to people on a broader scale for clean energy and solar for everyone. And at the same time, we're also looking for creative ways to begin to penetrate new demographics, get new readers, new members, how to portray the information in different formats, different medias like social media and things like that. So to confirm, I am the editor in chief, and I'm also excited to help tie in my journalism experience working at a news station early on in my career, along with my extensive clean energy specific marketing background.
Awesome. Well, that's a pretty good combination, clean energy and news. What was the news thing that you were doing before?
Yeah, I used to work at WJON News locally, grew up in central Minnesota.
Oh, cool. So Minnesota's a good place or bad? What do you think?
I think Minnesota is fantastic, particularly for there have been some nuances and headwinds in community solar, but overall, I think our community solar program is one of the best in the country. And so it's something I'm proud to be of as a fellow Minnesotan.
Yeah, when I was working for Kaplan and I was doing some classes and recording some videos for NABCEP exam prep courses and stuff, and it was probably over a decade ago. And I spent some time in Minnesota, over in St. Paul, a little bit of Minneapolis, but mostly it was St. Paul. And I really enjoyed it. I guess I was there at the right time of the year, but it was neat. I was right alongside the Mississippi River. I know that there was these bikes that you could rent, and I was riding them all over the place. I remember something about there being like a waterfall in the middle of town, which was kind of neat. And then, have you ever heard of Prairie Home Companion?
I have not, no.
It's a little bit before your time, I guess. And so there's this guy named Garrison Keeler, and he had this radio show on National Public Radio on NPR, and it was really popular for decades. And it was like an old time radio show. Like it was kind of geared towards the nostalgia of pre-television when my grandparents used to sit around the radio and listening to shows and stuff like that. And they would have guests, and it was the guy, it was kind of neat. I don't know. You just have to know it. I'm sure that all the old shows are there. And then I went and saw Prairie Home Companion twice in St. Paul, Minnesota at the old Fitzgerald Theater and took a trip to Lake Wobegon, which is a mythical place made up by Garrison Keillor. But anyway, I guess you're just too young for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Sean. I don't get the reference, but I do believe you. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was too young for that too. Then I would have another 100 years like
There you
you.
go. There you go. Love it.
Uh-huh. Yep. Yeah, I really did enjoy Minnesota. So tell me a little bit about what's happening with solar today. What do you got going on? What's your vision? What you can do or what other people could do to get involved, writing articles, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up our fall magazine. It's focused on circular economy, which we're super excited about because if you're not familiar with the need for circular economy and clean energy, you think about solar panels. If you're layman to the industry, you think about solar panels on top of a rooftop or on a solar farm. And then once they reach their life cycle after that, a lot of times they just end up in a landfill. And so that doesn't really equate to a strong like sustainability practice and a full life cycle of technology that's supposed to be seen and envisioned as the future of sustainability. And so we really focus on companies talking about the need for recycling, for upcycling. So the magazine is going to be out soon. And if you're a member, you'll get access to it as always. And what we're looking for in the future is Winter Magazine. We're going to talk about the state of community solar and community solar. If you're not familiar with that, really from a homeowner or a renter perspective, really the idea would to be able to provide power that's through clean energy to apartment complexes and other things like that. Not everyone who owns a home and they still want to be part of a solar program. And so that's one of the value adds for doing community solar is just to help people who are renting or don't currently own a home with the current marketing and the market crisis of, housing and the fluctuations of the last few years has made it really difficult to buy homes for a lot of people who are my age.
Great, great.
With that said, yeah, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just going to mention to the listeners that not too long ago, episode 231 of the podcast on August 31st was Cesar Barbosa. And he was talking about, we said recycling. He had all these different rewords that we defined. And it's repurpose, repower, recycle, repair, refurbish, retrofit, and remediation. And
Hmm.
so if people want to go back and listen to that podcast, they can go back in time to August 31st, 2025. We'll also put it in the show notes. Yeah. And his company is called New Power.
And if you're interested too, he's got a phenomenal cowboy type hat. I saw him in RE
Yeah.
Plus last
Oh,
week, and
great.
so he's got a great image, and he was very easy to find at a local Starbucks near the Venetian at the RE Plus Expo area.
Oh, so you met up with him. I imagine you probably
Yeah.
met up with him because he helped you with the articles of this issue that's about to come out.
Well, actually, it was the hat that drew me to him. So
Oh, okay.
I was able to see him in a crowd and I recognized it. He had a very kind of look. But we did get to talking, and it's exciting to hear that he helped be on your podcast to define what that means for the different types of what you would consider solar recycling.
Yeah, he had a lot of different rewords and they can get kind of specific. So that's a good podcast to listen to help define all those things. But yeah, so that's exciting about your new edition. And you were going to say something else, I think.
Yeah, we were talking about the future. We're looking to create opportunities to expand ASES presence in the industry. And as you know, every year we host a conference. This past August, it was in Boulder, Colorado. And then next year it'll be in Texas. And so
Oh, great. What town in Texas is it going to be in?
I believe it's Austin, Texas. But don't hold me to that. I need to double check with the team. I believe
Okay.
it's Austin, though. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was there and Bill Brooks and myself did win the Claudia Wentworth Award at the ACES conference. So we were kind of proud of that. That was pretty awesome.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think ASUS brings a wide plethora of different backgrounds and people, not just in the commercialization of clean energy, developers, EPCs, IPPs, all that good jazz, but also people who are just in broader sustainability, students. They currently have 39 chapters across the nation, and they have a goal of getting to 50 chapters. And so there's a lot of initiatives we're working on. one, two, if you're interested, just listening. And if you want to see what solar is like in your backyard, they're pushing the National Solar Tour again, which will be next month in October. And there's a lot of excitement around it. And even we've drawn interest from TV hosts for a USA Today show, and they have an interest in getting their project on the Nationals tour as well. So if you're interested, that's a great way, I think, to really get to see and look and feel the technology that's powering the future of our essentially our world.
Okay, and I was just looking up where the ASES conference is going to be exactly in 2026. Put it on your calendars, October 19th to 21st in Austin, Texas. So cool. I'll definitely be there. I always do a workshop at those conferences.
Okay, love it. Yeah, we'll be happy to have you
Uh-huh.
back.
Great. Yeah, thanks. I love ASIS. I've been going to their conferences for a long time. And it's sort of like we just got done with the RE Plus conference, and that conference is huge. And your chances of bumping into somebody that you know at the conference without planning are probably not that great unless, I mean, sometimes you might be interested in the same events, so like if you're doing like workshops on NEC, or you're going to, there was a memorial for Saint Johnny Weiss. And so I saw all the solar instructors show up there. And so I did run into people that I knew. But if you were just like showing up on the floor, your chances of probably running into somebody when there's 40,000 or so people is probably just like, I don't know, less than 50% at least. So
Yeah.
with the ACES conference, it's totally the opposite. Your chances of running into somebody are pretty close to 100%, especially if you both go all days. It's probably 99.9%. And that way you can develop relationships with like-minded people. And so it's a really good conference for that too. And they have lots of different, there's some workshops and there's lots of talks and speeches and of course awards and meals, and half of them are at the University of Colorado in Boulder, which is a beautiful campus, and you're just looking out at the mountains from there and all these great places to go hiking and just really cool people. And it's right in the middle of the country too, so that's another nice reason to do it. However, Austin's in the middle of the country too, so another good reason for everybody to be able to show up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Sean. And I think you nailed it. I mean, the even though it's a small detail, I think one thing that was really impressive with ASUS is they even were mindful of their footprint. And so they had plans to help get close to a net zero type of carbon footprint for people coming to the conference. And they were very mindful of all the assessments to make sure that they're also walking the walk instead of just talking the talk. And so I think that was a unique way they positioned themselves in the conference. I haven't seen that done before in the industry. And also their food was, I hate to admit it, but it was unmatched. It was the best food I've had at any solar conference. So the grub was amazing. The people were great. There's a lot of great conversations that happened at the ACES conference.
Yeah, even all the meals were designed to have a low carbon footprint.
Hmm.
So they were really walking the walk. We interrupt you for a very important announcement. Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast has been brought to you by Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage Podcast. That's right, Sean White is sponsoring his own podcast, and he wants to remind you to go check out some of his classes. You can go to SolarSEAN, that's solar, SEAN.com, and then click on the links to check out his classes. You can check out his heat spring classes, and you can also hire him to teach classes for you, like at your company, something like that. Now back to the show. So let's see, what kind of important things do you think that we should cover besides what we've already talked about?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that ASUS is really on a mission to reach the broader community, not just people in solar, but people outside of it, students, everyday people who just want to live a more sustainable life. And so part of our job at the ASUS community and through the Solar Today magazine is to educate and inform those people. And on top of that, we're excited because this magazine and this organization is over 70 years old. And so it's a long-standing organization, and we're really ready and eager to level up how we position ourselves in the marketplace so that more people can realize the value in solar, whether you're a homeowner, whether you have a family and kids, whether you're already in the industry or not.
That's quite a legacy when you think of 70 years old. There's probably almost, probably nobody that started the organization that's on this planet today.
Hmm.
So, I mean, maybe there was a 20-year-old that's 90 or something like that, or
Yeah.
91.
Yeah.
But that's quite a legacy and quite something to carry on. And then as far as getting the Solar Today magazine, how do people get their hands on it?
Yeah, the easiest way to get access to the magazine is just to become a member. There's a few different member tiers that you can be a part of. And outside of that, if you're curious, we also do offer selected previous magazines in our archive section. So you can view those to get an idea of what the magazine is like, what you like about it, and where you find kind of your niche and what you like to read within the magazine. And so just a reminder that if you become a member, you can get access to the magazine and also get access to other benefits that you can find at aces.org.
Great. And another way to become a member is to become a joint member with a local chapter. And I'm the president of NorCal Solar, which is a local chapter. And one of the things that I did when I became president was to make it so every membership with NorCal Solar was a joint membership with ASES for a couple of different reasons. One of them is just that ASES has it all set up to sign people up, and it's a lot of work putting together a place to sign up and to collect money and all that kind of stuff. And I believe the joint membership, I'm pretty sure, is $60 to become a member of the local chapter and a member of ASES. And do you know what the membership of ASES is? Just ASES alone?
Yeah,
No.
I mean, there's a couple different ones. You can get basic packages at $50 a year, even less for a digital basic at $34 a year. And so if you go to the website, you can find all this information. Again, it's aces.org. And then you just click on become a member. It's at the top of their website. And it'll give you all the different options. And it's meant to be inclusive to provide, again, we're trying to reach a broad audience, just advocates of solar and sustainability in everyday life. And so we've tailored our memberships to appease to the wider
Mhm.
audience we're trying to serve.
Great, great. And so getting a membership is a great way to get the magazine. And how else can people get it? Will you sell me one for $100?
No, I wouldn't, no, I don't think I would do that, Sean. But
They're on every newsstand in New York City and Manhattan. They're just
yeah,
usually sitting out front next to People
I mean,
magazine.
they did go really quick at RE Plus. So the only feedback I got was bring more next year.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
I will say that we're always looking for volunteers. And so if you're curious, you want to get involved in solar and you're just new to the industry, we're always looking for volunteers for unique projects. It could be anything to like day of events, for the solar conference we host, all the way to operational or accounting needs, and then even things like people to write articles for the Solar Today magazine or to write a cartoon. And so we're having a new cartoonist who's volunteering with this next edition.
Oh,
We're really
cool.
excited to test out. And so with all that said, usually if you volunteer and provide, and give back, we're eager to give you a magazine at the very least.
So if I think of a funny cartoon and I can't draw, can I let your artist know or anybody else
Yeah,
also?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, give us the ideas. Yeah,
All
we're
right, people,
excited. Yeah.
think up your funny cartoons and let Jacob know, and they'll put them into the Solar Today magazine.
Yes, would love to get that feedback.
And let us know how often the Solar Today comes out.
Yes, so it comes out quarterly. We just launched our fall one, and currently we are accepting pitches for the state of community solar. So if you are in the industry and you want to provide perspectives on any aspect of community solar, we'd love to hear from you. We're going to take our pitches by the end of the month and then let those know who we're going to move forward with and get them into full-on articles. And the winter edition will be expected to come around in December. And we also do a spring edition and a summer edition as well, 4 in a year.
All right, cool. Yeah. Yeah, and I always do get Solar Today magazine and read it. It's a good magazine. So that's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
hmm
Appreciate
Yep.
it.
Let's see, is there any other topics that you would like to cover?
Yeah, I think at this point, we're just excited for the trajectory. There's a lot of things we're exploring our end internally. And I think once we land on something and bring it to fruition, we'll be really excited to really amplify the direction of ACES. I think what's important to know is that there are people who are younger generations, they're eager to learn about solar. And there's also people who are my age who are smart, intelligent people, but I think also are just unfortunately sometimes misinformed. And I think a great example of that is I've seen an Instagram influencer, and she advocates that solar farms are not good for farming. And we both know that's not actually the case. And so there's a real need to go out to broader social media, to new demographics, to reach people on a broader scale in our nation, to inform them, to educate them, and get them excited about the energy transition that we're focused on.
Great, great. And so, do you mind if I ask what generation are you from?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. I am a millennial.
You're a millennial. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
yep.
All right. Well, I'm not a boomer. Like, no.
That's okay. No, that's quite all right. Yeah,
No,
and
I missed it by a few years. So, yeah.
no worries, Sean.
I think millennials don't like boomers. Is that right?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think what's key here is that regardless of your, generational background, it's like we want to find a way to appeal to new markets, to younger people, to older people, to people who just are misinformed by solar. And we want to reduce community sentiment because we just want more projects out there.
Yeah, I just had three people from Generation Z on the podcast at RE Plus, and
Mhm.
they were college grad students. So that was kind of neat. We were talking about the different generational things. I need to get somebody from Generation Alpha. So if you know
Oh,
somebody, let me know.
absolutely. And what year is that? When are they born?
So yeah, so it's 2010 through 2024. So anybody born after 2010, so that's like 15 years old until a 2-year old, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anybody in that range, but I do know somebody who is working to grow green energy jobs. Bobby Donahue, he's got the program called Planet Bonehead, and he works K to 12 to essentially work with schools to promote green energy jobs early on. Because part of the issue, as you're well aware of, Sean, is like we just don't have the workforce that we need to always meet the demand of clean energy. And so there's a lot of demand, there's a lot of need for jobs. And his whole thing is trying to get to those younger generations, which would cover Gen Alpha.
Yep, that's super, super important. And so keep it up, all of you generations, every generation, keep it up, keep it going.
Yeah, love it.
All right, Jacob Yang. So let's tell people where to find you.
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Search Jacob Yang, Yang. I'm the editor-in-chief for ASES, and I also wear a couple other hats. One of the big things I'm really focused on is building a community of writers, communicators, and marketers in clean energy. And so if you're a marketer, you're a storyteller, you're a writer, feel free to shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I'd love to chat.
Great, thanks so much. And then how do people submit an article? They just find you and go from there.
Yeah, the best way to submit an article is you can email me at jlundy@aces.org, lundy@aces.org with your pitch idea. And you can also just reach out to me on LinkedIn if that's easier as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jacob Yang, the editor-in-chief of Solar Today magazine, the most important magazine ever. And thanks for listening to Sean White's Solar and Energy Storage podcast. To learn about solar and storage and all kinds of fun things in a really happy and exciting way, go to Solar, SEAN, that's SolarSEAN.com. And a good idea is to get yourself NABCEP certified. Woo!